Hello, kiddies. Today we're stepping back into my Legends of the Gridiron series, and we're going to visit a player who I think made a major impact in the game of football. He was born in 1973 in Joliet, Illinois, eventually becoming the pride of the Joliet Catholic Academy, winning a state championship. It was no wonder he idolized the great Walter Payton, tailback for the Chicago Bears. His own football career saw him attend Purdue University to pursue a college football career. From Purdue, he ended up as one of the greatest fullbacks of all time in NFL, a Tampa Bay Buccaneer legend, number 40 in the hearts of the Tampa Bay fans. That's right, the A-Train, Mike Alstott. He was a true quintessential Buccaneer, being there his whole NFL career. Now, at Purdue, as a Boilermaker, unfortunately, he wasn't on a team that was contending for any title of any sort, though Alstott did shine and became the first Boilermaker in school history to win the MVP 3 consecutive seasons. His 39 TDs at Purdue was a record until 2008. He averaged 5.6 yards per carry at Purdue, had 39 career touchdowns, like I said, and was Purdue's all-time leading rusher with 3,635 yards, and that included a school best in 1995 of 1,436 yards. Alstott graduated in 1995 with a bachelor's in business, but the NFL was going to be knocking at the door. Alstott was a 6'1", 248-pound bruiser of a back, and he could run a respectable 4.6 40-yard dash and had an amazing vertical leap. But he was best known for having the motor of a locomotive, and ran downhill like one. Thus, he got the nickname A-Train. And if you squared up with him, you usually felt like you had been hit by the A-Train. For Alstott seemed to crave that initial contact, making NFL defenders look like JV rookies as he ran over, around, and through any defender with the cojones to get on the tracks. But Alstott was not just a downhill bruiser. He was very light on his feet to be such a big man, able to juke and jive defenders as well as run downhill, driving defenders into the turf. A fullback with the instincts of a halfback, these two combos would have made him a great football player alone, but Alstott boasted other skill sets that made him even more formidable on the football field. He was known for having soft hands, being a very potential receiver threat out of the backfield, a real threat as a receiver, especially as a secondary look-down target or the showstopper in a screen pass scenario. He was a hell of a load to bring down on his own, and many defenders will tell you that. But with a convoy of hog mollies in front of him, the offensive line leading the way, he was damn near unstoppable. Also, he utilized an amazing vertical leap for such a big guy, a skill he used quite a few occasions, leaping from the 4-yard line over the pile, landing in the end zone for a TD. And not many defenders had the balls to go into the air to meet him. Being such a load, he would drive them into the ground like a sledgehammer. During his career, I'm sure Alstott was the nightmare of many a defender in the NFL. 1996 saw Alstott being drafted in the NFL. He was the 35th pick of the second round, picked by, like I said, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tony Dungy, the coach at the time, utilized Alstott to full effect there at Tampa Bay. Many did not take Tampa Bay that seriously, especially with their dreamsicle-looking uniforms, but they used Alstott, like I said, to full effect, utilizing his strengths, using him as a running fullback rather than a blocking fullback. Defenses knew Alstott was going to be fed a full dose of the pigskin, and yet they still could not stop the A-Train from rolling down the tracks. He always seemed to get stronger as the game progressed. He had that fourth quarter thing about him, that dog in him. In the fourth quarter, when the defense was battered and bruised, Alstott seemed to have found that second gear or second wind, running harder and harder. Mike Alstott's ascent to legendary status left quite a few defenders as casualties on the battlefield known as the gridiron. As a youngster, like I said, Mike Alstott idolized Walter Payton, Sweetness. And every now and again, when you would see Alstott run, you could see echoes of Sweetness when A-Train would juke a defender out of his shoes rather than roll him over like a steam engine, usually when he would lower his shoulder and play smash-mouth football. And though every now and again he would show a little razzle-dazzle, a little juke and jive, his wheelhouse, so to speak, was running downfield, lowering his shoulders, bowling over would-be tacklers. Other than the odd shoestring tackle that would basically trip him on that rare occasion, it usually took more than two defenders to bring the juggernaut down. "I'm the juggernaut, bitch," would have been a perfect slogan for Mike, because when he had his momentum turned downfield, he was hard to slow down, let alone stop. Ironically, Alstott did have a famous chant slogan, and it was "Alstott up the gut." Alstott helped lead Tampa Bay from the creamsicle, laughable team, the transformation to the pewter and red Buccaneers. They went from the scallywags of the NFL to Super Bowl champion Buccaneers in Super Bowl 37. The pewter and red had become just as intimidating as the silver and black of Raider fame. And also, ironically, they beat the Raiders in Super Bowl 37 to win the Super Bowl. Tampa Bay's first Super Bowl win. Now, Mike Alstott revolutionized the fullback position, a position that was kind of in its twilight years. Alstott was a hybrid type fullback who ran like a halfback. He was basically considered the offense in Tampa Bay's lean years, but when he was paired with Warrick Dunn, they were a 1-2 combo that was damn near unbeatable. They was one great pair of running backs. Now, in goal line situations, Mike Alstott put the beast in beast mode. He was the quintessential example of going beast mode. He was an absolute horror in goal-to-go situation, showing the true definition of smash-mouth football, running through defenders, over defenders, around defenders, even flying over defenders from time to time to reach the end zone for a touchdown. For many years, he was the face of the Buccaneers, and many kids who grew up watched Tampa Bay and idolized Mike Alstott, the all-go, no-quit monster in the backfield. I, as well as many others, consider Mike Alstott the greatest running hybrid / fullback of all time. His mere presence dictated how defenses approached facing the Buccaneers. Like I said, they knew he would be getting a full dose of the pigskin, but still they couldn't stop him. The A-Train was a Tampa Bay fan favorite. Everyone knew who wore number 40. Mike Alstott helped legitimize the Buccaneers as a perennial threat to make the playoffs. Alstott's downhill bowling ball smash mouth style of running, coupled with a few hints of sweetness, revolutionized the position of fullback, creating more of a hybrid back scenario, one that was a threat as a receiver as well as a downhill runner. And he was, like I said, an offensive juggernaut, putting the beast in beast mode. Though a beast who could fly short distances and be a true threat as a receiver out of the backfield. It also can't be stated enough how he spent all his seasons in the NFL at Tampa Bay, being a somewhat franchise player dedicated to the team, not the almighty dollar. He was all heart, all Tampa Bay, all go, no quit. And it was very fitting that he scored Tampa Bay's first TD ever in a Super Bowl on a way to winning Super Bowl 37 against the Raiders. His many years as a downhill runner ended up creating injuries, neck injuries especially, which was a deciding factor in him retiring in 2007 at the age of 33. His career stats were as follows. His stats at the Buccaneers: he had 5,088 career rushing yards. And I'd like to note, at least 50% of those yards were after first contact. And that is being very, very generous, for real. So at least 2,544 career yards, and that was after first contact, but it was likely even more than that. He had 58 career NFL rushing TDs. He averaged 3.7 yards per carry, had 705 receptions for 2,284 NFL career receiving yards, had 13 career NFL receiving TDs for 71 total career TDs at Tampa Bay, playing 11 to 12 seasons at Tampa Bay. He was a 3-time first-team All-Pro, a 1-time second-team All-Pro, a 6-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl 37 champion, and Tampa Bay Ring of Honor recipient. At Purdue, he was 2-time second-team All-Big Ten, 1-time third-team All-American, 3-time MVP at Purdue, consecutive, which is still a record to this day there. He was Purdue Intercollegiate Athletics Hall of Fame and Indiana Football Hall of Fame. Purdue's all-time leading rusher with 3,635 yards and a school best of 1,436 yards in 1995, averaging 5.6 yards per carry with 39 career TDs at Purdue. Now, it's my personal opinion, though many share my opinion, that Mike Alstott deserves to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Firstly, he's considered a legend by many legends of the NFL, and they're on the Mount Rushmore on many legends, Mount Rushmores of downhill running backs. On the field, his mere presence dictated how defenses would face Tampa Bay, knowing he was going to be fed the pigskin, and still they could not stop him many, many times. His NFL career spanned over a decade. He revolutionized the fullback position, turning it into a hybrid-type back position, a fullback who could run like a halfback and catch like a receiver. And that showed that he was not one-dimensional. Not only was he a bruiser style of downhill football, but he also had the shiftiness to matter in a game. Plus, he had soft hands, making him a very potential threat out of the backfield as a receiver, especially in a secondary look-down type receiver or in a screen situation. Now, his integrity and commitment is beyond contestation, being he spent his entire NFL career at Tampa Bay, committed to team, not the almighty dollar. He was a major force in bringing the Bucs from a laughable creamsicle type football team to the feared pewter and red Buccaneers of today. Defenses feared him. Young boys wanted to be him. He represented the true essence of the game of football and what it meant to be a football player. With his heart, his all-go, no-quit attitude, not afraid to get down and dirty in the trenches when it mattered, leaving it all on the gridiron. Truly representing all those who are willing to fight for every inch for their family, those 10 souls staring back at them in the huddle, never shying away when those 10 brothers leaned on him to find a way to win, knowing he would scratch and claw for that critical yard, inspiring them to scratch and claw also just a bit harder for that ultimate goal, victory. Now, you take all these and add them up, I truly believe that equals an easy Hall of Fame nod. And I'd like to hear someone try to give me reasons why he wouldn't get a gold jacket or why he doesn't deserve a gold jacket. To quote the great Cat Williams, don't worry, I'll wait. I'm Big Duke 6 from CoolKegs Studios, and this is yet another episode of my NFL Legends Gridiron Greats. Football is upon us, hell yeah, and please subscribe, like, hit the noti bell. Hell, comment, I'd like to hear from you. Tell me what you think. Who are you rooting for? NFL, college, whatever. The time for smokers, cool snacks, and team spirit is here. And yes, I do bleed crimson through and through. And I must end this with Roll Tide Roll. Until next time, my friends.